So it's not easy because if you're going to break a pattern, break a system, you're changing the rules. And there might be a lot of people in your life who don't want the rules to change because the way they are now works better for them, which means you're not just fighting against your own internal willpower. You can be fighting against all of these external variables that are also trying to push you in an unhealthy direction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there was questions that were coming to mind as you were speaking. Why do you feel, and I guess you kind of answered this already, but maybe potentially there's more to say. Do you feel there is like a resistance from, let's say again, in this, I guess in the example you gave, which is the family, or I could say like the partner, as to why they could be so resistant to their partner changing?
In terms of the why,
Yeah, like
uh,
because yeah, if
it
you have any,
ranges. It
yeah,
ranges. I mean, it's not always just one reason or the other, because sometimes, frankly, you can have a partner who is more self-centered or more egocentric or ego-focused, who it really is more about them. For other people, sometimes it's that they don't know the best way to support their partner. So if you have a couple that's together and one person, their struggle is with exercise and fitness, but not necessarily weight and nutrition, then that's somebody who might be able to eat for the most part what they want or what they eat naturally and is never going to appear overweight, but also might not be in good health, right? Like it could be that they're not exactly eating healthy, but from an external point, you would never know. If their partner has struggled with more of the weight or the presentation or their own level, or they're setting a new goal, sometimes that partner may actually think they're helping. They might think they're helping by saying, don't overly focus on that. I don't want you to be worried about that. I don't want you to think about it or stress about it because they've never had to. So they might say, don't count calories. Don't think about that. It's like we're on vacation, eat what you want. And in that scenario, it's not meant to be negative. It's meant in that moment for somebody to say, I want to actually be supportive. And I want to tell you that I don't want your enjoyment of this meal hampered or decreased because of this other goal, because they may have not had that struggle. So for them, it could be yep, we go out for a nice dinner. I can say to myself, whatever, I'm going to eat whatever I want with no limits. And they don't experience any sort of downside or any sort of negative consequences. Even if it's not weight or diet or nutrition related, if you have a couple where one person has a sensitive stomach and the other doesn't, that person without the issue may say, don't worry about it. Come on, let's split this. I know you love it. Because they've never had to make that sacrifice. It's not necessarily that they're trying outright to be not supportive. Sometimes they actually believe they are being supportive by saying, I don't want you to feel that stress. And it can be really hard if you're the one trying to change a pattern to say, hey, on the one hand, when you say, I ordered us both dessert because I wanted you to have it, on the one hand, that person might feel very supported and be like, wow, that's so sweet and so kind. And simultaneously are like, oh my God, you are going out of your way to enable a behavior that I already have trouble resisting. And how do you say to somebody who's doing something that is nice or seemingly kind? That's almost more difficult sometimes than a partner who's outright or overtly like, oh, dieting's stupid. It's almost easier to blow off that because you could be like, no, it's not. You know, and I don't mean dieting in terms of any sort of specific diet. I just mean more like focusing on nutrition.